Welcome back to the 21 Boom Guided Meditation. This is Coach Zach Feeney. I'll be your guide. We're going to introduce to everyone this idea of in these mindfulness meditations, going down a more of a stoicism from a philosophy standpoint, Stoic philosophy route here for the next few weeks ongoing here. Something called Stoic Mindfulness and Resilience Training, or SMRT. And this week is very important because it provides a solid foundation for the concepts and practices to follow. If we really reflect on the questions that I'll be raising, we'll be raising together, observe yourself very closely and stick with these initial exercises, and you're bound to get much more out of the weeks that follow. Those who fail to pay careful attention to the motions of their own souls are bound to be in a wretched state. That's Marcus Aurelius from his book Meditations, book 2, verse 8. So this will require you to pay attention to yourself more carefully than normal and to the way you actually live your life each day. As Socrates said, the unexamined life is not worth living. You should aspire to know yourself by using this opportunity to study your own daily routine and train of thoughts from the detached perspective of a natural philosopher. Learn to patiently examine your way of living each day as if you were an ethnographer studying an exotic tribe and documenting their culture and rituals, or a naturalist studying the behavior of some newly discovered species of mammal. There's a special form of continual self-awareness that ancient Stoics trained themselves to develop, which we can reasonably describe as mindfulness, although it differs in some respects from similar ideas in Buddhist meditation practice. According to the ancient Stoics, we should naturally be mindful from moment to moment of the most important thing in life, the character of our own thoughts and actions. They even used a technical term in Greek, prosoke, to describe the mindful attention to oneself. The eminent French scholar Pierre Hadot has probably done more than anyone else to document the extent to which psychological exercises can be found in the literature of ancient philosophy, particularly Stoicism. In his book, Philosophy as a Way of Life, he wrote, "Attention is the fundamental Stoic spiritual attitude. It is a continuous vigilance and presence of mind, self-consciousness, which never sleeps, and a constant tension of the spirit. Thanks to this attitude, the philosopher is fully aware of what he does at each instant, and he wills his attention fully, and his action fully." For Stoics, mindfulness of breathing, for example, wouldn't necessarily be a particular helpful exercise, although maybe there are ways it could be made appropriate. It's attention to our judgments that really matters, especially our value judgments, and whether we lapse into placing too much importance on things outside of our direct control or not. In doing this, don't try to force yourself to change. You may find that many things change just by being observed. However, you may also find that you can simply step back from certain trains of thought or actions from the outset and choose not to go along with them or waste your time on them. Sometimes less is more. This strategy may help you save time and energy throughout the day by reducing the frequency and duration of unnecessary activities and, in a sense, simplifying your life. It starts with self-observation, though, and noticing what you're actually doing from moment to moment as you're doing it. That's the theme that runs throughout these meditations. It might seem a bit challenging or paradoxical at first, but we're confident, we should feel confident that it will come to make more sense to you if you persevere with the practical exercises each day. And perhaps more importantly, if you engage in discussions with others about the big questions that I've prepared for each week. There are lots of components to all of this, but we want to keep the focus on one or two key things. So the main question I'd like you to keep asking yourself and reflecting upon throughout this session and the rest of this week, and even beyond that, if you like, is as follows. What aspects of this situation are under my direct control? One of the central recurring themes of Stoicism is the importance of continually distinguishing between what is up to us, in the sense of being under our direct control, and what is not. We tend to call this fundamental distinction the Stoic fork or dichotomy of control. If you're new to Stoicism, it may come as a bit of surprise to discover that there's literally a manual dating from the Roman imperial period designed to teach Stoicism as a way of life to novice students. It's just called the handbook or manual. In its original language, it's called the Enchiridion of Epictetus, and consists of the key sayings of the famous Stoic teacher Epictetus, compiled by his student Arrian. If you want to learn more about Stoicism, it's one of the first things you should consider reading. I'm just going to get you started, though, by focusing on what the initial passages say, because they're arguably the foundation of everything that follows. The very first sentence makes it pretty clear where Stoic students should begin their training. In the Enchiridion, Epictetus says, some things are up to us or under our direct control, whereas others are not up to us. In the next sentence, Epictetus explained that Stoics mean what is up to us in the sense of being completely voluntary and within our sphere of control. In a word, as he puts it, this means our actions. That includes our external behavior, but also certain mental acts, such as voluntarily judging something to be desirable or undesirable. Everything else is only under our control indirectly as a consequence of our actions, which means that other factors can always intervene to thwart our intentions. Those things which are not our actions are referred to as externals or indifferent things. The Stoics often sum up the most significant and problematic externals as health, wealth, and reputation. Pain and pleasure are also indifferent in the sense of being things that happen to us, rather than things we do. When our voluntary actions are good, that's called virtue. And when they're bad, that's called vice. So acting with virtue rather than vice, in this sense, is the main thing that is up to us. Indeed, we're told the Stoics sometimes defined the fundamental goal of life as living in accord with virtue. Epictetus goes on to say that the root cause of most emotional suffering is placing too much value on these external things, on things beyond our direct control. Becoming overly attached to externals makes us all the slaves of our passions, he says. That's definitely something worth thinking about, isn't it? The Stoics, therefore, repeatedly advised their students to notice when they were experiencing unhealthy emotions or desires, feelings they may want to change. When this happens, we're to pause for a moment and try to grasp very clearly what aspects of the situation are entirely within our sphere of control. Their advice seems like it must ultimately have been the inspiration for the famous serenity prayer used by Alcoholics Anonymous and many modern counselors and therapists. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. The Stoics similarly advise us that wisdom consists in making a clear distinction between things under our control and things not. However, they make it explicit that the only things we can truly change in life are our thoughts and actions. When we do influence other things, including other people, it's always indirectly, as a result of our own action. Placing absolute importance on the nature of our own character and voluntary actions encourages us to focus attention on the very center of our sphere of responsibility, the point from which they arise. Doing so obviously requires paying close attention to our own judgments and actions throughout the day, which is the subject we'll turn to shortly after a brief practical exercise and an example. So if you want to pause this at any point in time to do any of this, feel free to. what we'll do is take a moment right now to think of a situation that seems to make you upset or irritated. Practice distinguishing between the aspects under your direct control and those not. You could draw two columns on a piece of paper with the heading control and not control, or use, or any other way you wish to do this. So first, consider how much control you have over the situation while thinking about it right now. Probably not much because it's in the past, right? But remember that you do still have some control over the way you think about it and respond, and that in turn may affect how you feel about it. So the first question, what's the problem you want to evaluate? So try to describe the troubling scenario you're imagining as concisely and objectively as possible. Second, how much control do you have over the situation? So you could rate your control over the situation as a whole, including your reactions, from 0 to 100%. Why don't you have zero control? If you rated it as zero, then what aspects are actually under your direct control? Try to draw up a short list. Why don't you have complete control? If you rated it below 100%, then what aspects are not under your direct control? Again, try to draw up a short list. What would happen if you adopted a more philosophical, stoic attitude toward the things beyond your control? Consider how it might change things over the longer term. If you were to consistently focus on doing the things that are up to you to the best of your ability, while completely accepting that other aspects are simply beyond your direct control. And then in review, are you sure you identified your level of control correctly? Take a moment to think about your responses and modify them if you feel like it's necessary. All right. Next, we're going to go up into our meditation exercise here for this week. This is designed to help you ground your awareness in the here and now and view your experiences from a detached and objective perspective, as the ancient Stoics described. Your main goal during this is to develop more self-awareness and insight into your own thoughts, actions, and feelings and how they're related to each other. You'll be trying to do this more or less continually from moment to moment throughout each day. That will mean developing greater mindfulness of your own judgments and actions, and a greater awareness of what's happening here and now in the present moment as it happens. You can develop greater self-awareness and attention to the present moment by using the exercise that we're going to do next. You're going to practice the art of patiently observing and describing your own experiences from a detached perspective. The ancient Stoics employed a number of similar exercises involving attention to the here and now. These often involve adopting an attitude comparable to that of a natural philosopher, suspending any value judgments or emotive rhetoric, and patiently describing the observable qualities of physical objects in completely neutral and objective language. So you can start with your eyes open, although you may close them in a moment if you wish to do so. You may want to take a minute just to settle down and bring your attention to the present moment. Say to yourself silently in your mind, right now I'm aware of, and you can fill in the blank. And then keep repeating that phrase and putting your own ending in it as you slowly describe your experiences. Try to suspend any value judgments and just describe specific things that you notice as concisely and objectively as possible. Use the tactic of putting things into words to make your attention linger for longer than normal on the features of the present moment that you experience. Take your time and proceed very slowly and patiently. Don't rush to describe everything. Just notice what comes to your attention. Take a moment to settle down and make yourself comfortable, whether you're lying down somewhere or just sitting in a chair. And fix your position where you can be at ease and rest for a while without having to move around much. If you're lying down, straighten your legs out and keep your arms by your sides. Or if you're sitting, keep your feet flat on the floor and your hands resting on your lap. If you wear glasses and you want to take them off, you can. And at this point, if you haven't already, close your eyes and relax and allow yourself to enter a more contemplative or receptive frame of mind. Notice the sensations in your body and any thoughts or images that pass through your mind. Become a detached observer of these things for the time being. If you notice any sensations in your body or hear any sounds from around the room or outside, that's okay. Develop indifference toward potential distractions rather than trying to block them from your mind. Just acknowledge whatever enters your awareness, shrug it off, and return your attention gently to the process at hand. If you doze off, that's fine too. For a few moments after awakening, just continue to imagine what it would feel like to really adopt a more profoundly stoic attitude toward life. By being here, you're going to give yourself an opportunity to contemplate certain typical ideas from Stoic philosophy. I'd like you to use it at least once per day for a few weeks so that you can really observe. the consequences of doing so. If these ideas are new to you, you can just begin by contemplating them patiently in a detached manner, studying their meaning. You can always choose what to accept and what to disregard from these sessions. However, if the words you're listening to are consistent with your own beliefs and values, you might want to try absorbing them more deeply by mentally rehearsing these attitudes and ways of thinking. If you like, imagine that with every inhalation of breath, you're absorbing Stoic values and beliefs more deeply into the core of your being. And with every exhalation, you're allowing wisdom and virtue to spread through your character and out toward the world around you, through your words and actions. Imagine what it would be like to completely identify with the attitudes being described. Ask yourself, what would it be like to really absorb these attitudes, take them for granted, and live in accord with them? What sort of person would you become if you accepted Stoic ideas and made them part of your character? What would it feel like to really think about things this way? Keep the Stoic goal in mind. You're listening to every word with the intention of improving your character and progressing toward wisdom and virtue. In a moment, I'm going to start counting from 10, all the way down to 0. Imagine that with each number I count, you're relaxing more deeply into a comfortable posture and state of mind, becoming more absorbed in this process and the ideas you're now contemplating. If you're really ready to absorb these attitudes more deeply, you might want to imagine that you're now entering a progressively more open and receptive frame of mind. Let go of everything else for the time being. Relax and allow your attention to become totally absorbed in these words. Take a deep breath in, hold it, exhale slowly, relax, and let go completely. Breathe naturally. Now, on the count of 10, let go and relax more deeply. On the count of 9, keep letting go and relaxing. On the count of 8, relaxing deeper and deeper. On the count of 7, more and more relaxed. 6, keep letting go. 5, halfway there. 4, relaxing deeper and deeper and deeper. 3, almost completely relaxed. 2, relaxing in your body and deep within your mind. One, letting go of everything else. And zero, just let go. Relax completely. And do nothing for a while. Give all your attention to the words and ideas you're hearing right now. Allow yourself to relax into a positive frame of mind and to benefit from what you're doing. Now listen carefully to these words and try to imagine what it would be like to really hold some of these Stoic attitudes very deeply indeed. Some things are under your direct control and other things are not. You're mindful of this distinction throughout the day, especially when faced with challenging situations. Your priority is to do what's up to you to the best of your ability with wisdom, integrity, and strength of mind. You calmly and rationally accept that external events sometimes do not turn out as you may have wished, and that some things are not under your control in life. The most important thing in life is the quality of your own actions, that they should be wise and good, healthy and praiseworthy in your own eyes. Everything else is secondary importance. Peace of mind comes from abandoning fears and desires about things outside your control. It's not things that upset us, but our judgments about things, especially irrational value judgments, or placing too much importance on external things beyond our direct control. You can rationally prefer that things go one way or another without demanding that they do so and becoming upset if they do not. You're prepared to face either success or failure in external events with equal calm and serenity. Difficult or challenging situations don't have to make you distressed. You remind yourself of this daily, especially when faced with challenging situations. It's not things that upset us, but our judgment about things. Dwelling on unhealthy feelings such as excessive anger increasingly seems pointless and unnecessary to you. You can take a stand against things and assert yourself without becoming upset. You love the truth. You love wisdom, truth, and understanding, and you seek to grasp your own nature and that of the world around you. Virtue, or strength of character, is grounded in practical wisdom, in knowledge of what's genuinely good, bad, or indifferent in life. Your true values are becoming clearer to you, and your actions more consistent with them. You love virtue, excellence, and strength of character. You admire wisdom, justice, courage, and self-mastery in others, and seek day by day to cultivate these virtues in your own life. You love to contemplate heroic, admirable, and praiseworthy individuals, historical figures, fictional characters, and people you've encountered in your own life. You pinpoint their good qualities, study them, and seek to emulate their virtues appropriately to your character and actions. You view strength of character as both healthy and praiseworthy, and as the basis of true fulfillment in life. A good person can have a good life even when facing difficult circumstances. It's your attitude toward life that determines whether it's a good or bad, whether you flourish or not as a human being. Other people's opinions are far less important to you than your own sense of what's wise or foolish, right or wrong. Health, wealth, and reputation may sometimes be preferable in life, but they're not necessary to excel and flourish as a human being. All you truly need is virtue and strength of character. You dare to be wise. You dedicate each moment of the day to improving yourself, to living wisely and in accord with your own true values and the virtues you hold most dear. You don't allow negative feelings to hold you back, but you act in accord with wisdom and your underlying values, even if it takes you outside of your comfort zone and requires patience, courage, endurance, and self discipline. You take pride in your ability to face adversity calmly and rationally. You love what's best in yourself and others. You feel a growing sense of affinity for your own true nature as a rational and social being in your place within the world. You feel a natural affection toward the rest of mankind and a sense of being at one with the universe as a whole. You never lose sight of your own and other people's capacity for wisdom and virtue. You live centered in the present moment. You're constantly aware of the transience of material things, including human life itself. You're conscious of your own mortality and make the most of each day that's given to you as if it were a sacred gift. The past is gone and the future is unknown. You focus your attention where it belongs, in the here and now, and on the quality of your voluntary thoughts and actions as they shape your life. You're mindful of your thoughts, actions, and feelings. You pay attention to your character, the type of person you've become in any given situation. When you notice the early warning signs of distress, you respond by telling yourself that your initial thoughts and feelings are merely impressions in the mind, not the things they claim to represent. You take a step back from troubling thoughts and feelings. You view them calmly and rationally from a distance, almost as if they were the thoughts of another person. You consider where they're leading you and whether or not they're contributing to genuine happiness and fulfillment in life. Do they serve your fundamental values? How would someone who truly lives with wisdom respond to the same situation? Do your initial impressions upset you by placing too much importance on external events? You enjoy contemplating what the ideal Stoic or wise person would say or do in the face of different challenging situations. You train your mind in emotional resilience by facing the full range of human catastrophes in your imagination while you practice rising above them and viewing them serenely with detached indifference. You patiently wait for your feelings to settle down, allowing you to reflect on things calmly and rationally and to consider how best to respond in accord with your values. You measure everything against your true goal in life. You're always watchful as to whether your thoughts and actions accord with your deeper values and the character strengths or virtues you wish to develop. You're gaining enough serenity to accept the things you cannot change, courage to change the things you can, and wisdom to know the difference between them. You flourish by living wisely and in harmony with nature, the nature of the universe as a whole, meeting with equanimity the events that befall you and the people that you encounter in daily life, and cultivating your own true nature as a rational and social being by making progress every day toward wisdom and strength of character. Now, just allow those thoughts to sink in for a moment longer and continue to imagine what it would mean to live in accord with Stoic attitudes and behaviors. Imagine becoming more and more Stoic every day and making progress toward genuine wisdom and strength of character. In a moment, I'm going to begin counting from 1 up to 5. As I do so, allow your attention to expand throughout your body and out into the room, around you and the wider world as you prepare to conclude the exercise. You're getting ready to take some of those ideas into the real world and your daily life, taking them forward in your character and actions and the way you deal with people you meet and whatever events may befall you. Beginning now on the count of 1, expanding your awareness through your whole body into your fingers and toes. 2, beginning to breathe a little bit more deeply. 3, getting ready to move and interact with the world around you. 4, starting to blink and open your eyes. 5, opening your eyes in your own time. Take a deep breath and begin to move your arms and legs. Rub your eyes if you want and make yourself comfortable as you start to move your body. Continue to be mindful of your thoughts, actions, and feelings as you gradually begin to engage once again with the world around you. Let go of the past, the future, and the realm of imagination for a few moments, and train yourself to remain with the present moment and the reality of your immediate surroundings. Allow yourself to notice what you're actually doing right now, from moment to moment. What do you think the long-term consequence of training yourself in this way and getting good at staying with the here and now for a while might be? You don't have to keep doing this forever, but it might be useful to be able to do it whenever you choose to, and to spend more time noticing your own experience and what's going through your mind in response to them. In a sense, you're learning to make the unconscious conscious, or at least to become more aware of yourself and what you're actually doing. The more you practice doing this, the more you'll develop a number of basic psychological skills, which will provide a solid foundation for the rest of the training that follows. First time you do this, you might want to spend a few moments away from distractions. However, as you practice, you should find that you can do it more or less in any situation. You could be sitting on a bus, pausing for a couple of moments while sitting at your computer, or relaxing in a bath. Some people have told me that they take time to do this exercise during the commercial breaks between segments of a television program, or even while sitting, or even while using the bathroom. It doesn't really require any additional time or effort during your day. You just need to remember to do it. So try to do this as often as possible for as long as seems helpful. I'd recommend doing it for a minimum of 3 to 4 minutes, at least once per day during the first week. If you want to do it more frequently for longer periods or throughout the subsequent weeks, though that's absolutely fine. Later, we'll look at some ways to prompt or remind yourself to practice mindfulness throughout the day in case you forget. So thank you very much, and I'll see everyone next time.